Hello, everybody. Hello, this is the 3D Leadership Podcast. We're glad for you guys joining us today. My name is Nadozi. I'll be your temporary host today because my man Danny's not here today. You guys will hopefully see him next month. With me is my brother in holiness, Dennis here.
What an
the man with the plan.
introduction.
Yeah, my brother in holiness. I love it, man. So
I've never heard that said before.
Oh, I was thinking about. I was gonna say my brother in crime, but I was like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Brother in holiness.
We want
makes
to
a lot
sound
of
more
sense.
Catholic today, don't we? I'm not gonna do that so early.
Anyways, guys, we have a great episode here today with you guys. We always want to say we're shooting live from Mon's Christian Gift Shop in Crabtree. I love the store here. They seem like they did a lot of different stuff here. So please make sure you guys check it out and look at any merchant things here. So with us today, our topic today that we're discussing is, do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? Dennis, do you know who you are? Sometimes
to
yes,
what
sometimes no. Depends on the season. Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Depends on season, depends on day.
Yeah.
You may see a different version of me some days, but you know.
Absolutely.
That's just the whole multi-personality disorder thing, you know. I promise I don't actually have that.
Well, here's a better
Not that I know of.
Well, here's a better question. Tell me, who tells you who you are, or like where does that even come from? That like the mindset of even thinking about that.
Well, I mean, you basically open up a can of worms. I don't even know where to begin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's the whole conversation of who are you named at birth. There's the whole, you can go down the political route of what is going on in politics today. You can go down the route of faith. I mean,
Yeah, what label do you want for this season?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's like what label do you pick at this point? But I mean, to keep things simple, I mean, with the purpose of this recording, this podcast, the idea is to look at biblical worldview. How do we apply what it says about us? So according to the Word, I am a intentionally designed being by the Creator for a purpose and by a purpose. And there's a reason why I exist. There's a reason for the gifts that I have, and ultimately that's what I should be making my identity based out of. It's what the Word itself. If I claim that I want to attribute my life to that faith, then I need to apply what that faith says about me.
yeah.
Logically speaking, I would
No,
say.
that makes sense. No, I'm in agreement. I think that I've always said that in our lives, you know, as human beings, obviously, and whether you believe or not, I believe that everybody is functioning with two different goals in mind in their lives. It's always, what were you meant to do, as well, and who were you spending that time doing it with? Mm-hmm. It's always about purpose and relationship, regardless of who you are and what you're doing. For me, for example, season of my life, my purpose was to go to college, like get into the best school I could possibly think of, right? That was my main goal, my purpose. Like, no, not just getting into any college, I wanted to play basketball in college. That was my main purpose in life at the time. Because in my mind, my identity was, I'm a basketball player. When you think about who I want to spend my time with, I was talking about anybody who was related to basketball, like whether it was my coach, my teammates, or anything like that. In the same way, when I gave my life to Christ, I believe that Christ told me that you are my born again, you are my beloved son, I'm your friend in this, and you are saved from sin. Mm-hmm. So I believed that I was saved from sin. I continue to believe that I'm saved from sin. I believe my purpose is to live out the life that God has given me. And for me, that's the difference, is that one is an identity. The first was the identity that I picked myself, that I decided for myself that this was going to be this. And another was one that the Creator, the one who gave me life, put in me and told me that this is your identity. Now, it's funny that I say that because I still fight with my Creator about who I am, even though I'm not the one who made myself. You know what I'm saying? So I still struggle. So it's funny that this question comes up, because what I found is that my identity doesn't change, but the things in my season, say the roles that He places me in, does change. And I think sometimes we can take the roles that we place in as our identity. I think that's what we struggle with.
That's, I think, one of the biggest obstacles that any person has to navigate is because we live in a culture where pretty much everything is to an extent merit based. Like
Yes.
what you do becomes who you are. It's like, what do you want? When you ask somebody the question, like, you don't ask. Most questions don't revolve around a person's character or their goals. It revolves around what do you want to do in the future. It's all related to a job.
Yes.
What like, where do you want to go? Okay, well, in terms of where you go to college. Well, what do you want to study? It's all just action related questions.
Yeah.
Versus like a question like that I would ask somebody, hey, what's something that you love about your life? Or hey, what's something you want to work towards in life? And we're in such a conditioned reality that, I mean, I say conditioned because you can use the word indoctrination, but in reality, we're just conditioned to, many cases, think certain ways.
Exactly.
Like everything you're taught is conditioning you to think about that thing.
Yes.
So like, go to math class, it's teaching you how to be conditioned to think about math and do math. Go to science class, it's conditioning you how to view what you're learning about.
Exactly.
So, and that's not me trying to overcomplicate things. It's just saying what we think about ourselves is tied to what we take in our everyday life. Like when you look at people who are sick, let's talk about people who are millionaires, for example.
Yeah.
They have a different,
Well, always look at the word millionaire.
yeah, or even just the word, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it comes down to what we think about ourselves is directly tied to what we take in our everyday life.
Yeah.
So if you constantly listen to, I don't know, like specific kinds of music, you'll start to think the way that those lyrics were written.
Yeah.
If you put yourself around a group of people that are notorious complainers, just never anything positive about their day, just whining and whining. I could use other colorful language, but I don't want to scare any kids off in here. Like, you become that person. It's the whole rubric of you become like the 5 people you're closest to. That's not a literal rule, but it's the concept that who you associate with and what you surround yourself with ties into how you see yourself.
Exactly.
So the intention has to be getting to a point where you are intentional with what information you allow yourself to retain.
So, I mean, that's just the best way to describe it. So, I remember a conversation I had with a Muslim guy back when I was in Texas, and the idea of a role is that, like, for example, with the country that he was from, religion and government are the same, right? So
Yeah.
his identity is that saying he's Muslim is like saying saying he's from this country is the same thing as saying he's Muslim. You know what I'm saying? And he looked at
Yeah.
America as like if you say you're American, that means you're Christian. If you say,
Yeah.
and I was like,
In many cases.
and I was like, well, no, you know what I'm saying? That is very. I can see where that would be if that's how you look
Yeah.
at church and state. Then yeah, I can see where the miscommunication of what that would look like to them in the outside world. Because if you think Christianity is Americanism, no, I can't say that it is in that regard. I mean, obviously there are Christians who live in America, but there's Christians who live in all parts of the world. But you know, there are people who don't believe in Christianity that live in America, and so you can't say Americanism is Christian. But at the same time, it's the idea of thinking that because you're this, or say for example, you say that, oh, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, right? That has labeled you as, oh, you are this, and whatever that person has in your mind of what that looks like, that's what you are. And I think, well, go ahead.
No, you finish your thought.
Yeah, so, and I think that what the trap falls in is that a person is not an identity that's taken, like, you know, from that person's thing of what they like or what they dis. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a person's identity. It may be something that a person has a role in. Like, say example, right? If I said, you say for example you like chocolate ice cream, right? You're a chocolate ice cream lover. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're a chocolate ice cream lover. Does that mean you only like chocolate ice cream? You know what I'm saying?
No.
Does that mean that you don't like vanilla ice cream?
Of course.
No. Does that
No.
mean you don't like cake? You know what I'm saying? But what
Yeah.
happens is, if I say you're a chocolate ice cream lover, right? That means that I believe that no matter what it is or what happens, you love chocolate ice cream. So you couldn't love vanilla because you
Yeah.
love chocolate ice cream. You couldn't love strawberry because you
Yeah.
love chocolate ice cream. You see my point?
Yeah.
Like, what happens is it confuses me that people look at identity as this one particular thing, and we latch onto it
Yeah.
as a safety net of like, this is who I am and this is what it has to be.
It's that, and it's also I'll put this disclaimer out there. I'm pretty confident that this recording will either offend people, it will either hurt somebody, and my goal is not to do either one of those things.
Yeah.
But because of the world that we live in, I am confident that where this conversation is about to go is going to be one where if you're offended by it, I'm going to do my best to not say it in a rude way, but you might want to check yourself if you're getting offended by this. Mm-hmm. Most people just have a lack for caring about anything.
That's true.
I mean, you can ask people what their goals and what their dreams are. If somebody cannot give you a firm idea about what they want to do in their future, or it shows they have no identity, period.
That's true.
Like the amount, and I say this in the most kind way, the amount of dull conversations, and I mean straight up like dull, like to the point where I'm trying to grasp at straws just to get some substance out of a conversation, and there isn't any. It's like we genuinely live at a time in history where identity is lost, and people are too scared to claim it.
Yeah, like Walking Dead.
Literally, it's like The Walking Dead.
Like there's no reason for doing what they're
Where
doing.
like if you do walk out of identity or out of confidence, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine last night about this. Like it's strange. We live in a time where it's strange for men to be confident.
Yeah.
It's weird for them to be driven. It's weird for them to say what they think and be okay with results. We live in a time where where it's almost like confidence is ridiculed.
Yeah.
Where your confidence is there's no longer such thing as confidence. Now you're either cocky or rude, or you accept everything.
Yeah.
And that's
and not even accept everything, you have to glorify everything.
Correct.
Because it's like even if you accept and disagree,
correct,
right? It's still not enough. You have to support it, and otherwise you disdain.
Oh yeah.
There's no middle ground in the sense of like I can say that I dislike something.
Yeah.
Or not want to do something and not be looked at as, you know what I'm saying, like, oh, are you this? Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, and the next thing too is like it's crazy to me that I'll put it this way: how many people have you encountered in your life where you do something nice, people compliment you for it?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah.
Why is it that good things are complimented but no one takes action to repeat it? That's my question. Like people can identify good behavior, they can identify kind gestures, but yet there's some type of like fear or obstacle or something where you question everything. Like, am I okay to do this? Am I okay to say this? Am I okay to think this? Like, yes, you just from a pure logical standpoint. One, if we're talking about the USA, you live in America, you got freedom of speech, you have always had freedom of thought. Doesn't mean that every thought should be shared. I'm learning that part myself. But we live in a time where it's an anomaly to you're looked at as weird when you're walking in identity.
Yeah, it's we live in a time where everybody's afraid to be uncomfortable. Yeah, everybody's afraid to be uncomfortable. Everybody's afraid to,
and that by nature makes you uncomfortable.
Exactly, like but you see my point. Like what you just said was so true in the sense of like, it never surprises anybody if somebody gives them compliments, right? Because for some weird reason we always expect that everything should be linear. If I go someplace, like say for example, if I go to a restaurant, right? I don't know what has going on with the staff. I expect that. Oh, when I make a reservation and I get there on time, I'm gonna be seated at within the certain amount of time.
Yeah,
right?
AB equals C.
Yeah, exactly. I expect the waiter or waitress to get my order right immediately. I expect my food to be as delicious as I thought in my head.
Yeah.
And I expect the prices to be reasonable, regardless of whether you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like you know what I'm saying? So we expect all these things no matter where we go to some degree because we've just been indoctrinated to feel like I don't want to say the world owes something, but like good things happen if you work hard or do what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
So when stuff doesn't always go that way, when somebody calls you out by something, right? Or say, for example, a waiter got my order wrong or stuff like that, right? To a lot of people, that's a struggle because it makes them uncomfortable. It goes against certain things. Now, some people, I don't know everybody, obviously, so some people can obviously just give grace and things like that, but there are times where circumstances happen where it questions our identity of who we are, because when things are uncomfortable, that's when I feel like that's where your heart really is, as far as like where God has you at the time, right? It's easy to follow God when everything's going good. You know what I'm saying? When it was like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to follow Him, to have an identity as a Christian or anything like that when things are going good. But when things arise, right? When problems happen, right? Where your test of faith and character is really shown. That to me is where your identity really plays on. Like, okay, this can be who you are at this point.
When times get tough, it's the whole analogy of like finances. Like when it's not that people change when they get more finances, it's the true of them comes out.
Exactly.
Because your behavior shouldn't change. It's just your character is gonna be magnified in a greater way because you can do more with more.
Exactly.
So who are you at that point? But I mean, in that same manner, we have a problem with. I'll put it this: we have a problem with ourselves.
There you go.
All of us don't like ourselves in some way, shape, or form. That's why whenever people critique us, it's we don't like it. We walk away. We change churches. We change friend groups, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. But in the end, we remove ourselves from a situation thinking that it's going to change how we're viewed. In reality, you just have a straight distaste of yourself. Like that's logically what's taking place. You heard something from somebody that is something you need to be fixing. You didn't like that, but it's not the fact that you didn't like that they brought it up. It's the fact that you didn't like hearing that about yourself.
Yeah.
You actually just don't like something about yourself. Mm-hmm. And here's the best part: because you control your actions, you can change who you are.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it.
And that's what makes me laugh is when we're so wrapped up in. When we don't create an atmosphere of correction, we create.
Nobody wants to act. If you don't create a situation where people are okay to mess up, to make a mistake, then what you're telling people is that it's not. If he's telling people it's not okay, then don't attempt. If you don't, if you're saying that I'm going to be ridiculed or be ostracized or whatever by attempting, then most people are just not going to attempt. Which is why you say, why do people lack confidence? Because everybody's scared to mess up. They're scared to take on the role of this. I mean, like even in relationships, like, this is slight, but like in college, you'd be like, hey, why don't you go approach that girl, right? Because it's not the attempt of, whether she says yes or no, right? It's what if she says no? What's going to happen? Is she going to make fun of me? Are they going to make fun of me?
Yeah.
Everybody's watching, like, what am I, you know what I'm saying? So you don't make that stance. You don't do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know what I'm saying? But that's a lack of confidence. Like, there's no, nothing's going to happen if you don't do that. The same thing with the job opportunity. The same thing with, like we were just talking about, like roles as a husband, a father, or even doing something for the mission. It's like if you don't attempt because you're scared of what will happen, right? Then you're not finding your identity in Christ. You're finding your identity in your merits of what you believe can happen. Mm-hmm. And because you're thinking that a mistake is a problem or a mistake is bad, then you're not going to attempt because you're living out of fear in that regard. And I think fear is in a lot of people's identity now.
Yeah, I mean. If we don't normalize correction, then cowardice becomes the norm.
Yes.
Because if we aren't willing to correct who we are, then you can't ever be told something is wrong, which means no one can be honest with you, which means you are always living in this delusion of life as a reality, hence where we are today. And like, there's no such thing as correction anymore. But the life doesn't work at that point. Like literally things can't work.
Yeah.
And like from a perspective of being from a perspective of someone claiming to be a believer, it's I give this job analogy all the time. A CEO knows his job.
Yeah.
He knows what he's supposed to do. He knows if he doesn't do his job, he's going out of business.
Exactly.
Same thing with any employee. When you when you get an offer to work at a job, you get a job description, you get a criteria, you get KPIs, like key performance indicators of what you have to do to be successful. If you don't do those, you're out.
Exactly.
Simply put. I worry that too many, and like I said, because of how I communicate, there's a good chance that that I can always come across as abrasive. I work alongside a very successful entrepreneur at one of my roles. He's not afraid to give me feedback, and I've had to learn how to accept his feedback as he wants what's best for me. I need to take his feedback. Most of us aren't that old yet. Spiritually. We've done the routine of church. We've done the routine of going to Bible study. We've done the routine of memorizing scripture. But I'm sorry, you are still an infant in faith. And you are raised by an infant in faith, who was raised by an infant in faith, who was raised by, there was no spiritual maturity, as John talks about. There is none. So when people start catering to making sure people are happy, kids are happy, friends are happy, when you cater to making people happy, you forsake the mission completely.
Yes, exactly.
Because we were never called to make people happy. We were called to be effective. And once we stop preaching that message, whether it's off a pulpit or whether it's just with our friend group, you start recognizing, oh, there's people that see me as a commodity, and there's people who truly want to be friends, because you aren't just being a hype man, like you aren't being a fan like most people actually want. You're being an actual friend, a brother, like the word says. And I mean, I'll put it this way, God's removed plenty of relationships in my life when I started recognizing that pattern and started applying that pattern, but he also brought new ones into my life that were much more fruitful, much more enjoyable, where I could actually just have an honest conversation and say, hey, you know what, I really didn't like when you did X, Y, and Z. And if you are emotionally mature enough, you receive that and you know how to correct it. Because here's the thing. Like I've had this conversation with my wife several times. If she tells me I need to improve on something and I get defensive on what I'm doing, that's one, devaluing her feedback and her voice. Number two, it's me saying, doesn't matter what you felt, I know better. Which makes no logical sense whatsoever.
Exactly. Because if you knew better, you wouldn't need correction in the first place.
Yeah, like if the action I performed, whatever it was, made her feel so. Which means, doesn't matter what I intended to do, that's what she felt.
Exactly.
So in order for me to be able to know, okay, my identity as a husband is someone who's supposed to be caring, loving, sacrificial, I need to prioritize her and her needs. It means I have to pay attention to, okay, shoot, if what I did made her feel this way, I gotta freaking change this so she feels what I want her to feel. Does not, and like from like to any husband who ever listens to this thing, it doesn't matter what you were intending if they did not receive your intention.
Exactly.
Does not matter.
I know that.
And yes, the Lord cares about your intentions, but from practical just life every day, if your intentions didn't align with the action that the person felt, scrap it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't
matter.
matter.
It does not matter at all.
Because if they felt something different and you try to argue, well, you should have felt this, it's nullifying their feelings, nullifying what they say, devaluing what they say, and ultimately you're now trying to recreate an identity that you didn't even apply in the first place.
Exactly. And that's a big thing. But that also doesn't mean that you shouldn't act. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that you just said that, like, for example, using you in cats, right? You did something, but you didn't intend to, to hurt her, right? That does not mean you're going to stop doing stuff.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is that doesn't matter. I mean, obviously, if you're married, you should already know this, but you're going to do stuff to defend each other.
Yeah.
It's just the truth of it. And a lot of times, if you're in a loving marriage, it's going to be.
Well, I actually I would actually challenge to say the only reason someone's offended is because pride's in the way.
That's true.
Because
yes.
Now, I'm not saying that offense won't exist, because there's always going to be pride at the heart, but the more your spouse is offended, the more prideful they're being, because they think what they think is more important than what you think.
Exactly.
And I've been there myself dozens of times too.
And that's true.
But continue on.
No, well, so my whole point, but no, you're right. My whole point was that shouldn't stop. The main thing about what you're saying is that when a loving marriage, when that happens, there's grace to communicate, figure out what the problem is, and then continue to move until the next fight. Because you know that as people,
the next fight.
No, because the truth of the matter.
I love that. No, it's
no,
so
because
true.
it's true. Because the truth of the matter is, each season is going to have its own challenges. There's going to be things that we, like for example, me and my wife, we need to talk about.
Yeah.
Things that we're not seeing right now because God hasn't allowed us to see it yet, because we're not in a season where maybe God feels like we're ready for that. But once we are, and challenges hurdle, there's communication that happens, there's things that we get better at, and we come together more lovingly. But that's how it's supposed to be in the world. One of the questions I wanted to ask was, with identity, right? So we could agree that identity is not something you just put on yourself. It's not just about what you do and things like that, but it's who God calls you to be, right? But like a CEO may be identity as a CEO, but that identity has many roles, and those roles can change as the season goes. So when you're starting up a business, for example, right? A CEO would be somebody who's maybe hands-on, doing a lot more stuff, and as the business grows, starts delegating to others, right? Let's say it grows into a major business, then that CEO is like, okay, I gotta step down, because you know why? Oh, my wife is pregnant. I'm getting kids now. Now my job as a CEO is not as the main source after I've gotten married, after I have a child, after I'm trying to raise it. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's roles and seasons that happen, right? Which is why it's a struggle for me when people decide to take certain identities to mean everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it doesn't make sense. I'm not only a father. Bailey's not only a mother, right? I'm also a husband. So if I'm spending all my time taking care of my child, right, but neglecting my role as a husband, that's, you know what I'm saying, that's hurting my identity of what Bailey sees me as.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, it's the same, like my wife and I've had this conversation where I would give my job all my energy, come home, be drained, and then my family gets like the scraps.
Exactly.
And like very openly, like we talked to each other about and realized, okay, I literally am failing at my role. Like my grade would be an F.
Yeah.
But that can change.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of it.
That wasn't my.
So you're an F. Listen, that's not a bad thing. You know what that means? That means you have much room for improvement.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It'd be sad if you were like a B plus, and you're like, dang, I did all this and I'm a B plus. Like, what else am I supposed to change? You know what I'm saying?
No, exactly.
But if you're an F, that means you have so much more room for improvement. They're like, okay, great. Now we can figure out what to do better.
So now, like, to that point, I often, as we're preparing for this today, I genuinely had to wonder to myself, when people say or sing songs that relate to them being, for people who are Christians, who say that they're a child of God, I've been wondering, like, a few different sermons from our pastor and some other ones I've watched, like, do people actually understand what that means? Because their life should reflect what they believe or what they actually think. And like, for example, it's easy to lose what's it called? When something becomes a routine, it begins to lose its impact mentally on you.
Yeah.
So something I've talked to I've had a few conversations about this recently, and one thing I even spoke to Danny about this. It's I truly believe that we are at a time where people know how to name it and claim it, but they don't know how to identify with it. So they know how to say I'm a child of God. They have no idea what that means. They know how to sing like "Glorious Day" from Passion. They know how to sing "Goodbye Yesterday" from Ella. They know how to sing the worship songs. They got no idea how to apply it to their own life. They've never been taught what it means. But they know how to show up on Sunday at 9:30. They know how to show up to small group on Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day it is. They know how to show up to their camps. But when it comes to actually operating out of the identity that they sing to be claiming about, there's a difference between knowing the song and knowing the Savior. And I've really had to, and it's got me. I'm preparing for another talk, and it's the talk's going to be tailored towards the idea of a surface level Savior, where it's, do you look at Jesus from a Christian perspective? Do you look at Jesus as your Lord and Savior, or is it just surface level enough to make you happy? Is it just surface level enough to where you can feel good about who you are, but still not change your life?
Yeah.
Is it just enough to where you don't feel bad about what you did last night, or do you want your life to be radically changed? And it made me really think about when people say that they're in a tough season, when they're not experiencing the miracle they're waiting for. It makes me also wonder, one, if they don't know who they are, they might not even understand the power of who they're claiming. Because we know how to sing songs about Jesus. But if you truly understood, like this is an example that came to mind on my ride home the other day. When the word talks about how Jesus descended to hell for 3 days and then on the third day he rose, the word also says he preached to everyone in hell.
Yeah.
He took the keys to death, hell, and the grave. So it wasn't the fact that he went to hell and got condemned. It was he literally did what he did when he was on earth and preached to everyone in hell. And those who chose to identify with him in hell, he took back with him to heaven. And that dawned on me, like, do we comprehend the seriousness of that? That he literally preached the gospel, like he lived the gospel on earth. He preached what he did on earth in hell. Literally went to hell and preached it to people who were already dead, like condemned for eternity, and then brought them with him into heaven.
Amen.
If we truly understood and comprehended that, like just knew what that meant, I believe we would. I believe our prayers would sound different.
Yeah.
I believe our conversations around hardships would sound different. I believe that us understanding who we are in him will be radically different.
Yeah, I think that the fear that a lot of people have, especially Christians, right, is the fear of performance, right? So the idea of what you're saying is not. So this is what's funny about what you just said, right? I remember talking to a non-believer about it before, right? And their mindset, because if no one's ever heard that before, right? The mindset of it is bonkers. But to us, we've heard it so many times. We're like,
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, no, man. But I encourage people to talk with somebody. Like if you're a Christian, talk to somebody who's never heard that before, because it really will make you realize how amazing what you believe actually is, and how seriously you really got to take what you're saying. Right, because it is very supernatural. Think about it. But I think what happens is that I can remember when I got baptized, right, and I gave my life to Christ, and what that looked like, and how quote unquote on fire I was, right. And what happens is you start to try to mask your life into thinking that you have to be this thing to just do. You know what I'm saying? Because God rose from the dead, like He saved our life. We got to tell everybody about. You know what I'm saying? And what happens is, when you're doing that, for some people, it's. God obviously changed me. For some people, they may be going like this, right, and all that stuff. But I feel as though what sometimes happens is you get into your mind of performance. You get into your mind of, if God did this for me, how could I be this way or this way? It's because we're living in a fallen world. You are not perfect, but you're perfected in Christ, you know what I'm saying? Which means all your sins are forgiven, past, present. This is the part we forget. Past, present, and future. Yeah. It means that you will fall short again. It means that there will be times where God's gonna have to refine you. The beauty of it is that if you didn't need refinement, right, then where's God gonna work?
That's it.
That's the beauty of it. There are so many times where our mistakes is what actually allows God's glory to work.
Yeah.
Because that mistake could lead someone else to Him. And that's the whole point of it. What happens is that if we become performance-based, where we think that we have to have everything figured out, that our identity in this perfectionism of what we believe we need to be, that's where the trouble starts. That's where we get hindered by our performance. That's where we get hindered by our thoughts, and that's where we really get hindered by our fear. Because what happens is we get so confident in our minds of thinking we're this, that if we don't attain this, who are we? You know what I'm saying? Who are we? And the truth of the matter is, you are who God calls you are. You're not this perfect super Christian who has to, if I don't get 1 million people to follow Christ in this world, then what have I done? How can God look at me? And you know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, Jesus started with 12.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He started with 12. You know, the disciples, they did many others, but they didn't themselves reach the whole world. But the ones that they did reach and multiplied instantly in the world, it just takes one. It doesn't take this mindset of, oh man, you know, how am I going to accomplish this? What am I going to do? You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's not how God works. I find it so interesting because the people who do the most amazing things, right, are the people who sit in this faith, right? When God calls them to walk, I don't think they ever look at it as like, oh, that was so taxing. I don't know how I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? I think that the people who really trust in God who do that don't look at it as work. They look at it as their purpose. Like you were talking about it, even starting this thing.
Yeah, I mean,
like it's like what I mean is that it's not. I won't say like it's not work. Say obviously there's work involved, but what I'm saying is there's not an overwhelming feeling of self. I have to make this happen.
yeah.
It's more so like I'm going to be obedient and let the chips fall where they may.
There was a quote that I heard recently that really put it into the right words for me. And the quote says this: he knew what he was getting. That's it. You think he called you to go to mission work, but you don't feel like you're ready for it? He knew what he was getting.
I see where you're going with that. Okay.
You don't think you're smart enough to get into the college, but you're gonna apply anyway. He knew what he was getting. I didn't feel like I was ready to start the podcast. He knew what he was getting. We literally try to use the exact things that God is saying. I already know about that to disqualify ourselves.
Yeah.
And God's looking at you like, I know what I'm getting.
Yeah.
I'm picking you anyway. And for some reason, the same thing with Moses. The amount of times he talked about stuttering and I'm not ready for this, I'm not the right person. God's like, I already know who you are. I'm picking you anyway.
It's already been written down, actually.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to go.
The amount of pressure relief you experience when you choose to own the fact that if you call yourself a child of God and you logically understand that God's already accounted for everything you've ever done, all your weaknesses, all your own doubts, all your own insecurities, all your own concerns, and he still picked you anyway. I think we forget that God is all-knowing. Because that doesn't just mean he knows what's happening in your future. It means he knows where your weak spots are.
Yeah.
He knows where you're weak. He knows how to be your strength, as Paul would say. Like in my weakness, you are strong within my weakness. God's specifically picking you because he wants to use your weaknesses.
Yeah.
To bring himself glory.
I think that just flips everything on its head, because what a lot of people struggle with is we sometimes, in the back of our heads, maybe it's not always said, but we sometimes think that God picked us for our strengths. We sometimes wonder, like, why did God pick you, right? Mm-hmm. Like, why did God pick Dennis to be married to Kat? Why did God pick him to be a brother in Christ to Dozy? Why did he pick him? And I remember hearing this, like, as you get closer to God, sometimes the simplest answers, like sometimes the most complex questions just have the simplest answers. Why did God choose Dennis? Because God chose him.
Yeah.
Because I chose him. And it's funny because we question God in that regard with our weaknesses. Be like, God, why me? Why? Like, it's like, why not you? Matter of fact, who made you? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Who made you? Yeah. Like, you don't think I know your weaknesses, bro? Let me be honest with you. You're more broken than you even know. Like you're actually worse. Like I'll be honest with you, you're not like
You suck worse than you
exactly,
think you do.
exactly. Like you don't understand. You think you're an F. If I could give you a failing grade, like I would, you're like at the low. That's why I want to use you.
You get one line versus 3.
Exactly. Like if I could give you a,
Not even worth the line.
exactly. That'd be always like you're really messed up. You have no idea. But that's why you need me. That's
Yeah.
exactly the reason why I want to use you. The reason why I want to use you is because I know exactly how broken you are. So this mindset of us having to disqualify ourselves to have this fear of not trying or attempting or not being who God calls us to be, it's like it's a very arrogant mindset. It's like
It's you saying you know better than God.
exactly, and
Yeah.
it's like you know how broken you are, but then you know that God knows that you're much worse than that.
I mean, remember when God was talking to Job and how
Yeah.
Job started questioning, well, why is this happening, God? And God's like, were you there when I said light and it showed up?
Exactly.
Like, were
what do
you
think?
there when I placed the stars all where they're supposed to go? Like, what have you done like that recently?
Exactly.
And I was like, okay, sorry, you know what, you're right, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But like, it only makes logical sense that it has to be a weakness for God's power to be proven through it. And it just proves that we don't truly believe He is all-knowing if God's calling us to do something or impressing us to do something, and we challenge Him on it. It's like, bro, it's like you're a 6-month-old baby trying to talk to a parent and reasoning with them. You can't. It's a whole different language. Like, I mean, the word even says, "My thoughts are higher than your thoughts." Like my ways are higher than your ways. You're over here in chapter 1. I'm writing volume 2.
Yeah, exactly. Like what are we talking about? You're concerned about the wrong thing.
Yeah, and it just proves that our focus is so on who we think we are and what we think we're able to do, rather than, you know what, God, if you actually spoke the world into existence, I'm gonna shut up because you know way better than I do. But the great thing is, the more we choose, the more we attempt to get to know Him, the better we learn our role and the better we learn who we are.
Yeah, and that's I think the beautiful thing is like the practicality of what this question is, as far as like what your identity is. The role in which you take to learn who God is helps him define to you what you're supposed to be doing, what your real purpose is. I think what should be encouraging to everybody is that it's never too late to start learning who God is and knowing what His purpose is in your life. And it just takes a step that you take each and every day.
And here's the funny part with that. When people choose not to, life gets a little mayhem sometimes.
Well, yeah.
But then here's like, this is such a logic 101 thought pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you go to the gym. Okay, you start lifting a weight and it's difficult. Okay, you lifted 5 pounds today. Dope, awesome, great job. Mm-hmm. Next day you come back to the gym and you want to be stronger, but you didn't increase the weight. Now you yell at the gym manager saying, why doesn't your gym work? I'm not getting stronger. I'm like,
You didn't increase the weight.
exactly. So many of us, and I mean, I'm saying this about myself, like, we complain to God about not knowing our path, yet last time we checked, we can't even remember the last time we opened the book, or the last time we talked to Him. It's like, how in the world are you supposed to know where you're going if you don't even talk on the GPS? If you're not even putting in the GPS? Like what do I even have? I don't even have a right to complain. Like, I haven't even put in my own action to say, how can I learn about why? When have I earned the right to complain about something I never did? It's like the whole concept. It's like the whole concept of merit. If you haven't earned results yet, they shouldn't be there. Like, quit complaining about someone else's life having more results. You ain't worked for it yet.
Yeah.
Like the best quote I ever got from my mentor was this. He said, "You'll know you've done enough when the results show." And I was like, well, how many years? What does it matter? It's like, okay, well, how many squats? Like, what does it matter? If the results aren't there, the work hasn't been done. If you aren't a different person, the work hasn't been done. Now, yes, the word says He's the author and finisher of your faith, but it's your daggum job to open the book and take intentional time and grow. If you don't complain.
You know, it's
like, straight up, just be done complaining, because you're the reason why you are where you are.
No, I love it. One of my favorite stories in the Bible, right? It's in the books of Acts, right? And it's funny because it's just like a slip. It's not even, I don't even think it's a chapter, but it's so funny to me because it's like, it's exactly how a faithful believer works. And you don't know the results. You just have to trust God. Ananias, right? In the book of Acts. No, I love this story so much. This is my favorite because you don't know a thing about him.
Yeah.
You have no idea who Ananias is. All you know is that randomly God calls to him and is like, hey, look, you know, Saul, you know that guy who's killing all your brothers? It says there's all that guy, you know, that guy who's really attacking the faith and the people. He's like, yeah, God, I know that guy. Yeah, listen, he's in Damascus. I need you to go preach to him.
Like,
what?
No.
he's like, so you, but you know, it's like,
I think the line broke up, God.
Exactly. He's like, I think I know you're talking about a different song. I know you're talking about a different song. I know you're not talking about the guy who killed my homeboy last week. You know what I'm saying? I know you're not talking about him. He's no, him. I need you to, him.
Yeah.
And we don't know a thing about him, but he's obedient and he does it.
Yeah.
You know, everybody knows what Paul went to do, what Saul, when he becomes Paul, went to go do after that, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes, I don't even know if Ananias lived to even see all that.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, what your mentor says, you may not even ever see the results until much later. Sometimes you might not even see it in your lifetime, right? It's just trusting that you're being obedient to God and knowing that what you're doing, He has a role for it. It doesn't matter if what you say is look, this podcast may be for just one person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It may be for one person, and I could care less if the whole world hears about it. It may just be for one person, right? But if that one person just happens to look at us and is saved based on what we're saying, hey, I'm cool with spending the next 20 years doing this thing and it being the same. If we knew that was one person who might come to Christ, because what we know is that eternity means forever, right? Eternity with God is great. Eternity without God is horrible.
Not so fun.
Not so fun is an understatement. It's why we can show grace and forgiveness to other people, because the idea of hell is real. Hell is real. Like, I don't care how. I said this too because I forgot this thing I was watching where somebody was talking about like these guys who killed people, right? And it was like, this guy going to go to heaven if he gives his life to Christ? He's like, yes. And the way I think about it in the mind is like, listen, this person, let's say someone does a horrible act to me, right? You know, and then this person doesn't give it Christ, right? How long can I hold on to that anger for me to give it up, right? Let's say I held on to it for like 100 years, right? I'm dead now, I'm in heaven. That person's in hell, right? I see this person burning in hell, right? And going through his anguish, right? And you know what? I'm satisfied with the justice, right? Okay, cool, you're satisfied. But I'm in heaven 50 years from now, and you're still seeing that person. You still satisfied? 100 years from now, are you still satisfied? 1,000 years, you're still mad after 1,000 years? You know what I'm saying? After that person, like, after whatever happened to you, y'all in heaven, chilling with Christ and all that stuff. You're still thinking about that? Wouldn't it have been better for you to have forgiven that person? Maybe talk to that person about Christ, and now he's in there with you. You guys can talk it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, we live in such a now mindset, and our identity is such in the now and not in the forever. And I think like that is where our issue as Christians are. It's like we think that everything now is important.
Well, you have to keep in mind too, when people harbor unforgiveness, it's rooted in the fact that they think they're better than the other person.
Exactly.
And it's like, yeah, in your eyes you might be better, but guess what? It ain't you ain't the one judging here.
Exactly.
Like last time I checked, you're going to be looked at the exact same by God. And if you claim the word, I'm just saying if you claim the word,
if you claim that you're following this,
then there's a word. Then there's a line in the word that says, "For all have sinned and fall short." Last time I checked, we're all included in the all. So when you harbor unforgiveness, it's you thinking you're better than them, which just means, oh shoot, I forgot. I'm looking at myself rather than remembering, oh wait, but I'm actually just as broken like they are in God's eyes. So what do I have to say about that? Like what do I have a right to complain about?
And then remember, like, you have to go and actually speak to this guy that you're claiming this unforgiveness to, as if he didn't. You know,
say, like, what was my cross for?
Exactly, like as if he didn't. Like, so you're perfect. You're good. Like, no, I just want to make sure it's like, so you're God now. I just want to make sure we like. I just want to make sure we got it.
I didn't know the rules changed. Sorry.
Exactly. I'm sorry. When I made you, I didn't know.
Please enlighten me.
It's like when I made you, I didn't know role switch. Like,
Yeah, I didn't know you took on my job description.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And so, yeah, it's just a mindset of like this identity.
Yeah.
When you say you're a child of God, it means you have a forever mindset.
Yeah.
You have a mindset that's not living in the now of, am I happy today?
Yeah.
Am I good today?
Yeah.
No, your concern is, I'm content today because of what Christ has given me. I find joy in Him. Now, what do I need to prepare for the forever? Because my time in this world is limited.
Oh yeah.
Who am I bringing along with me in this case? God, what is your purpose for me to even do that?
Yeah, the more you focus on who God is, He shows you who you are. And the reason why He says He elevates the humble is because He literally reminds you who He is, reminds you who you are.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to be prideful when you're talking to Him and when you're
Well,
spending
yeah.
time with Him.
Yeah.
Put it this way, it's very difficult to have a sinful nature when you're with Him because guess what? He can't be around sin.
Yeah.
Like it can't exist around Him, which is why when you sin, you're eternally separated. It's when you're so focused on Him, you remember how little you really are. And and again, this probably just doesn't sit well for 99% of so-called Christians. But ultimately, we live in a culture where we live in what I like to call convenience Christianity.
Yes.
It's all great until something goes wrong. It's all great. The word
until you offend the person at church.
Yeah, the word was fire until the wrong person bumps you in the line to get your coffee, and you're like, what the?
Or the
what's
wrong
wrong with
person
her?
cut you off in the car,
Or cuts you off.
or your friend that you had for years said something
Like-
to you that you didn't realize. Like,
Oh yeah, it's
you
like,
know,
bro, if you have that short of a fuse after you just amen to pastor on a Sunday morning, that message didn't sit like you thought it did. Like you're not on firm rock, you on sinking sand.
Yeah.
Because if you can't, if the word literally, if it's a visual idea of it going in one ear out the other, there's no logical reason to say I claim myself to be a believer when within seconds your default nature is, oh, I'm gonna show you now, bruh. Like, what happened?
what makes sense? Yeah.
It's legit like you clothe yourself to show up the best way, but you're not allowing yourself to be transformed in the same way.
Yeah.
It's all. I'm not saying that's everybody, but gosh dang, like
It's a lot of us. It's a lot. Like, it may not be everybody, but it's a lot of us. It's not like
Sure.
it's the norm. It's not like let's be honest. When people hear Christians, right? Like the first thing that, like as a non-Christian, that some people hear is judgment.
Oh, yeah.
They hear like, this person's just.
I have to laugh when I hear people in church say, "Yes, amen." Like, bruh, check yourself in 10 minutes. Like, and again, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I've got my own moments every single day where I'm like, should I actually caught myself here?
Yeah.
But like, there's a lack of rootedness where we know how to make the flower bed look nice, but nothing's rooted in the ground.
Yeah. It's not growing anything.
It's not growing. And in most cases, like even the word says, like, are you actual fertile ground or are you clay?
Yeah.
Like the color of clay can look beautiful. Mm-hmm. Nothing can grow there.
Yeah. Fake flowers still look like flowers. They don't grow.
Yeah.
They don't grow. I mean, they don't pollinate. Don't do anything. It's just plastic.
Oh yeah.
It looks good,
Oh,
but
yeah.
nothing grows out of it.
My biggest concern for, I would say, people who claim to be Christians today is that they have what's the word? They have.
Try to define it. I maybe help you.
Another term for kidding yourself. You fooled yourself essentially. Like most Christians today are fooling them. They're delusional. They're thinking that they're believers when they actually ain't, because they know how to look the part, but they don't know how to say yes to God.
Yeah.
They know how to show up, they know how to host the party, they know how to sign up for small group, they know how to count the attendance, but they don't know how to be that person in the mall. And I'll say it like that. They don't know how to check on somebody in the mall. They don't know how to check on their friend. Their life gets too busy, kids get too busy, they don't know how to apply what they're hearing.
Yeah.
Because life is just too busy. Kids got sports, kids got ballet, there's too much homework, I gotta finish this tonight, we got this coming up, we'll try again next week, oh, we can't make it this week. I'm not saying that it's bad to do those things. I'm saying it's bad when I'm saying you're in trouble yourself. When you don't know how to apply what you're showing up every Sunday for.
Exactly.
That's not, and I'm not ridiculing anyone saying that like you aren't.
We're saying this as
I'm saying like
believers who are trying to figure this out too. Yeah.
I'm saying this because like even the word itself says like many will say Lord, Lord, and he'll say for I never knew you. It's like so many people know how to do the act of faith, but they know how to claim the faith, but they don't know how to walk the faith. They've never done it. They don't know what it looks like. And there's a genuine concern I have that people actually think they're believers and they think their name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life when their name's actually just written in the church directory for new membership but not in the book.
And that's the scary part.
That's
the scary part. I think that going to God and learning about your purpose is how to avoid that. It's really how to avoid it because, like you said, when you're around God, you feel very humbled because He will humble you. Trust me. That's just what He does. He will tell you where you're falling short. He will tell you where you have to be obedient. He will tell you what you have to work on, but He'll also tell you how much He loves you too. He'll also encourage you and let you know that as broken as you are, I can fix you back together.
Yeah.
He'll tell you what it is that you're missing about yourself. And He will tell you the identity of who He made you as. And I think that's what, I know that's what this world needs. They need to understand about who God has made them.
Yeah.
Because once you do that, that's just the beginning of the amazing journey of what you're meant to be in this world.
Yeah, the word doesn't say God is wrath. He is a just God. It's a description of Him. But the word actually says God is love.
I was going to say God is love.
He's actually the identity of love, which means that when people are wondering, like, what is love, just literally look at God. Like, literally. There's no other identical description to God besides God is love. Exactly. It doesn't say God is peace. It says Jesus is the Prince of Peace. Like, He's the one who's in charge of it. It says He's a just God. It says He's a faithful God. But the only, this was like recently, this was a new revelation to me. The only description of God, of His character, is God is love. That's it. Yeah. There is justness about Him. There is consequences, like I think it's like Deuteronomy 9, like where it's like obedience brings blessing, disobedience brings curses, etc. But like the only description that actually attributes to God's character as an identity is God is love. Yeah. And we have to get to a point, even just as a society today, where we understand first off, that's who He is. Like, forget what He's called you to. Forget what you think you're supposed to. Forget the whole picture. Understand He is love. It's not yes, He loves you, but that's because that's who He is. Literally, if He were to stop loving humanity, if He were to stop, He would no longer be God.
Yeah.
Like that's what that revelation rocked my world 2 years ago. When I realized if he ever stopped loving anybody in the world,
He would no longer be God.
He's officially no longer God. Like he would literally cease to exist because he can't stop loving. It's literally why in the Garden of Eden situation. It's why He had to cast Adam and Eve out. Because He didn't want them to be eternally separated from Him because He loved them too much. People think that was a consequence. No, that was a freaking blessing. Yeah. Because if they ate from both trees at that point in time, then there was no reconciliation. Yeah. He had to separate them out so they couldn't be eternally separated. And then he literally became a human Himself in the form of Jesus and said, I love these people so much that I will literally kill my own son in hopes that they may turn back to me. So there can be justification for the mistake that was made.
Yeah.
Because nobody else could be justified. It had to be a perfect sacrifice. It had to be from a perfect being. Which means that if He ever stopped loving anybody in the small North Carolina, anybody in history ever, if He ever stopped loving anybody, He'd cease to be God. And my question is, do people actually understand that? Because if we did, I bet you there would be a revival in the church today that history has never seen.
I agree.
Because when you just encounter even when you have those goosebumps at church from your favorite song, it's because you sense there's love in the song. You feel His love through the song. When you go to a church where you really feel the presence so heavy that some people would fall out in the Spirit, or they would have to be laid down because they're in that overwhelming stage of experiencing Him. It's because it's a fruit of His love. If we got to a point, if we simply focused on learning about God as what does it mean to say He loves me, we would literally see a revival that the world has never even seen before.
Yeah.
That's how the gospel spread.
Yeah.
God is love. That's it.
And it's as simple as that.
Yeah. And if we learned that, and then learned who we are because of His love, game over.
I don't got much to add to that. I mean, for me, there's not a lot to add to that, honestly. Like you said before. So now I guess what next steps would be, if you're questioning like what your purpose is, if you're questioning about what that means, is what does God is love even mean? You know what I'm saying? You know, I think.
What would you say?
Well, for me, I would say that like for example, I would answer the question, what is God love? Well, then for me, it's like, what is your definition of love? Mm-hmm. For me, my definition of love is somebody who wants the best for me. Won't ever see me go away from them. You know what I'm saying? Wants to be around me at all times. You know what I'm saying? Is overwhelmed by the feeling of me just being around them. You know what I'm saying? And will protect me, will guide me, will lead me how they see, like lead me to where they think is best for me in that regard.
Yeah.
And like for me, when I think about what Adam and Eve went through when they sinned and it was living out of the garden, right? While it was love, they still had to struggle. They still had things they had to do. But it's funny to me because we look at struggle as a bad thing sometimes. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's interesting that you say that, it was out of love that they took them out of the Garden of Eden because he didn't want to be separated from them, because struggle is not always bad. You know what I'm saying? Struggle is not always a bad thing if it's in sense, getting me closer to God. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But I think as people in our society, we always look at struggle as a bad thing. You know what I'm saying? It's weird. It's like, struggle is a bad thing. Like, no, struggle is only bad if you're doing it out of like selfish. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like out of selfish desire. Like but everybody struggles. There's nobody in this world who can say I got it all figured out. We good. We're good. There ain't nothing going on in my life right now that I ain't struggling with. Yeah. No, it's a struggle. But struggle is not bad. Struggle is a norm of life, and through that struggle, it's the beauty of struggle is it makes you have to rely on something. Mm-hmm. It just depends on what you want to rely on. Mm-hmm. So if you have a struggle, something that you're dealing with, you either rely on yourself, which will always fail, or you can rely on God, which will never fail. Mm-hmm. And that's where it always stems from. You either rely on yourself or you rely on Jesus Christ, who died for your sin. It's one or the other.
So let's take this back from. Let's make this plain as simple. Let's act like anyone listening just got saved yesterday.
Okay.
Let's break this down from the most basic form possible. This is how I learned it like years ago. So we say God is love. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a specific section in Scripture that talks about what love actually is.
Yes.
So let's just break this down some. This will remind myself, you, and pretty much anyone how broken we as people are, but also how dope God is. Mm-hmm. So let's see. So in 1 Corinthians 13:4, it says, "Love is patient." Okay, I already failed there. I'm not always patient. Yeah. Love is kind. Yep, I also know I'm not always kind. Okay. It is not jealous. I know I'm jealous of stuff every single day. Love does not brag. I tend to do that from time to time. It is not arrogant. Lord have mercy, I'm not going to. Yeah. It does not act disgracefully. Yep, I do that on occasion too. It does not does not seek its own benefit. Yep, I do that. It is not provoked. Do that. Mm-hmm. Does not keep an account of wrong suffered. Yep, I definitely count people's wrong. Yeah,
that's true.
It does not rejoice in unrighteousness. Nope, I do that sometimes too. Mm-hmm. but rejoices with the truth. I like to think of that part, but I also do the other part. It keeps every confidence, and it believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Well, I pretty much failed at each one of those things.
Oh yeah,
But-
I mean, yeah, I do too.
But the cool thing is, well, I should say this: if we want to play the typical comparison game, good thing is we all do it in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
There's not one person who's ever lived that has not failed at each one of these things at some
Amen.
point in their life. The dope thing is that if we say God is love, then God is, and then He fulfills all these criteria, and He actually did fulfill all these criteria. And when it comes to when the Pharisees asked Him, what are the most important commandments, trying to catch Him to try to say something wrong, He said, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind. And He
And love
said,
your neighbor
love your neighbor as yourself, which now just means if we want to break this thing down as basic as possible, let's apply 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 7 every single day. And bro, we're home free.
Yeah.
If we can just apply this encompasses every crappy part about our personalities, about our character, about what we like and don't like. This encompasses our entire life. If we just get this part down, or try to, we're going to be in pretty good shape.
We're gonna be good. Period.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty much it. And so, basically, your whole purpose should be to live like that.
Yeah.
Easy, right?
So
Easy.
you know who you are? Yeah, I'm called to be an image of God, and if God is love, I'm called to be an image of love.
Yeah. In all circumstances.
In all circumstances.
Amen.
And that's why it's so flipping hard, because our flesh doesn't
It's
want
simple. It's very simple. It's just very hard.
to. Exactly.
But the important thing is you're not called, and this is one thing that was beautiful. I remember too. You're not called to be perfect at it.
Yep.
You're called to do it, but you're not called to be perfect at it. But isn't it interesting, though, that and I've said this before too. Isn't it interesting though that God calls you to love somebody? I always thought that was so interesting because the way the world looks at love is what? An emotion. That's how the world looks at it. Love is an emotion, right? Oh, I feel it's always looked at in movies as a romantic setting of like, oh,
Yeah.
you know, in cartoons it's a little hard thing that, you know what I'm saying? Like love is an emotion. It's just a thing that you do. So
Yeah.
it's weird, right? Like, don't you find that interesting? God is calling you to love. Is He calling
The
you to be
world calls
emotion?
you to a feeling. He calls you to a decision.
Exactly. In other words, love is not an emotion.
No, it's
Love is a decision.
Yep.
Love is action. Love is something you do despite what the circumstances are.
Yep.
And I think that's where the lie is. A lot of people think that, oh, love is an emotion. If love is an emotion, then yes, of course, it would be easy to love somebody who does something good to you.
Yeah.
It'd be easy to love somebody who does some, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, of course, I love you. You know, of course I love you. You gave me, you know what I'm saying? You brought me food. Oh, I love that you brought me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, because emotionally, that's easy to say, but
Yeah.
love is not that. Loving is the person bringing you food
Yeah.
after they ain't seen you all day. You know what I'm saying? Loving, what love is going out your way to help somebody do something without expecting anything in return. Love is giving money to this person to pay for their meal despite what they've done to treated you badly the entire time. Love is coming back, being the God of the universe, coming down to a rotten earth who has failed him for thousands of years and deciding that he is not only going to live on here, love these people, but going to die for their sins, past, present, and future, and take the weight of all the mistakes in this world upon himself. And say that to all those, regardless of what happened, to those who believe me, I wipe the slate clean. I like to say to you, you'll be as clean as white, you're as pure as white as snow, no matter what you've done. That is love. That's, I mean, to me, that's an action. That's not a emotional thing, because emotions change. That's a decision.
I guarantee you, Jesus wasn't happy on that cross.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I can guarantee there was nothing. He did not go there gladly. Let me put it that way. There was no, when I tell you that
he was not
he
jumping for joy
sweated.
smile on his
He
face.
sweated blood. Like what I mean is like he sweated blood. Like, do you know what sweating blood means?
Yeah.
You know what kind of anxiety that is? Like I was thinking about like that is. There is no circumstances that I've never heard someone do that. I have yet to hear anybody say like I was so anxious I sweated blood.
Yeah.
It was that's crazy. And somebody to feel that anxious, that scared, that fearful, and still be obedient for people who he knew would not, even after he did this, may not accept. That's love. That's love.
Yeah.
And that's the God we follow.
Exactly. So hopefully with the thousands of directions that this conversation went, there was some value add to your, whether it's your faith, your understanding of who you are, whatever it may be. Now, the next steps. Well, our encouragement to you is this. Actually take inventory about what you believe, what your values are, and what you choose to believe. In the end, you make decisions every day based on what your values are. Whether you know
Matter
or
of fact,
not.
write them down.
Exactly.
Write
Down what your values are and figure out that this is who I am. And even if you're not used to talking to God, or you've been debating it, maybe you had a bad experience with somebody who was a misrepresentation, happens all the time, we're all broken. But even ask, like, hey, God, if you're out there, like, who am I to you? Like, walk me through this so I can figure this out. And be open to it. Ask him for help. Ask him for how to help. That's how that personal relationship even starts. Now, one thing I will say is this. We always want to honor Mount Christian Gifts for all the support they've given us. Now, for those who maybe this conversation intrigued you and you're curious to just, like, hear more of this type of conversation, one of our friends, Spencer, hosts a regular what we call leadership study, where it's similar conversations like this, but on an even more specific topic. And it's Bible study conversational nature, but it's not just hi-hos, singing a couple of songs and maybe saying a prayer. It's actual diving into what does this practically look like. So I want to encourage you, if you're looking for that community, if you're looking for a way to get yourself plugged into a deeper train of thought, more applicable train of thought, then reach out to us through Instagram, 3D Leadership Podcast, or even feel free to email us, 3dleadershippodcast@gmail.com. We hope that this was able to add value to you, and we already know, if you've seen us before, you know we do not ask for you to like or subscribe or share. That to me is tacky. We know you're going to if you did.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I share stuff with my friends all the time. I send stuff to Dozy.
No one ever asked us to do so.
Yeah, no one's ever asked me to share stuff with them. I still do it. So I know you will if you did. And for now, we say, I hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you guys next month.
Amen. Love you guys.
That did not go the direction I thought it was going to go.
That's how it goes.